there's probably a lot of stuff we could dive into, like childhood, growing up, all that. Like,
sure.
man, welcome to the Yanagida Podcast Show, episode 39. Got special guests, my bro, real estate agent, and just an overall good guy and handsome guy. Genesis Buduan. Genesis, welcome to the podcast, brother.
Thanks, Justin.
Oh
Thanks,
my
man.
God.
Great
So,
to be here.
I mean, people are probably curious, Genesis. Like, where did this all start for you? Is it real estate? How did this even start? Like, were you always just like into real estate, or what's the origin?
Oh man, straight into it. No, awesome, man. First off, thanks for having me here, man. This is awesome. I'm glad we got to do this. This is a little nervous, but just kidding. Now we're good. We're gonna have a good time. Yeah, man. So what got me into real estate was, honestly, I never even thought about it too much before. I'm 30 years old now. I just turned 30 actually.
Congrats.
The first time, thank you. Made it. The first time that I was ever even thought about or heard about real estate was when I was 18. When I first turned 18, right? My mom brought it up, and I think it's because she kind of like saw something, you know, like because for me, man, I wasn't the best in high school, you know. Still trying to figure out to this day how I passed high school, you know.
There you go.
But yeah, that like went away. Like 18, I was like, no, mom, I don't want to get into real estate, you know. Like I just want to dance, you know, because I come from a dancing background, break dance. Yeah.
What was that? What kind of dance?
Break dancing, man. Hip hop, break dancing, all that, you know. And that was like my life, man. That was like my life. I still do that. Yeah. I'm super blessed to have another half who does the same thing, right? So we dance all the time. Yeah. But yeah, and so that's what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? I wanted to get paid for dancing, but sooner than later, I realized like, oh man, I don't know if this is really what I want to do. You know, I think it's time to find a job. You know, or I just wasn't as good as I thought it was.
Yeah.
You know,
my God.
But so back to that real estate question. Yeah, I got into it later on, a few years ago, 4 years ago. It came up as a Facebook ad.
Really?
It actually came up as a Facebook ad.
That was the first thing.
Like, first thing.
What was the ad look like?
It was beautiful. I still remember the guy. Cody Sperber was his name. He was a real estate wholesaler, right? Which is what I still kind of want to look more into as well, because there's so many things you can do with real estate. Wholesale is just a little piece of what you can do. I got more into the sales side, which is funny. But anyway, yeah, it initially was from Facebook. And I think it's ironic because that's how I started generating my first leads, right? My lead source was Facebook. Yeah, social media, Facebook. Yeah, I saw this ad. It just popped up out of nowhere. You know, it was this guy, and it was about him driving on this, like, for us, it looks like the Poly, you know, right. Poly. But they were like somewhere in California, and they were driving like this coastal line, and it was so sweet. He was with like a bunch of his friends, right? And they were like in some nice cars too, you know, but that's not what caught my attention. What caught my attention was when he pulled out of the car and he was just dressed normally, you know, just like, and when I say normal, it's like someone you don't expect to just pop out of this Lambo, you know?
Right.
And so that's what caught my attention, was because this humble guy, you know, like super like normal looking dude, you know, like, and when I say that, I mean someone that you would never expect, you know, like if you met him first off, and he's over there and he's just like, hey, what's up? My name's, you know, and he says his name, and he just starts talking about what they just did. You know, he's like, oh, my friends and I just took this cruise, you know, and then he later on at the end was his pitch. You know, he's like, we're able to do this because we have the freedom and blah, 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 because we do real estate, you know. And that's what caught my attention, was that. I was like, oh, wow, man. I was like, let me look more into this guy. And so, yeah, so that's initially how I first learned or got my mind back onto, let's think about getting into real estate, you know?
Real estate.
Like, that guy's life looks fun. Right. You know? Not that my life was like horrible, but it was, you know, it was like, could be better. Always could be better, you know.
For sure.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And so when you saw that, from that time, who you were 4 years ago to the process 3 years ago, 2 years ago, last year, COVID, this year, what has been like anything different from the perception to like what you experienced, or for anybody listening that's kind of like, man, I kind of want to do real estate too. Like what he just said sounds awesome.
Oh man.
So for every 100 realtors, what do you think, like, that stick through it?
Yeah, so that's such a great question, and that's actually what I ask myself all the time too. That's one of my things, right? Like, you know how we have like our daily mantras, right? That's one of the things, like, hey man, why are you still doing this? You know, like, can you still do this? You know, you still got it in you.
Yeah.
When people first start in anything, like even just, I guess real estate.
Yeah.
Even if it's something else, whatever, like if they want to be more fit or they want to create their own business, right? But we'll go back to this, and we'll say for people that are thinking about getting into real estate,
Yep.
I highly recommend it. But also what people need to really keep in mind is that it's not like that ad that I saw to get to what he was doing. Man, you got to put in some work. You know, it's not easy. It's not no fast. What do you say? Fast cash. You know, quick cash scheme or whatever they call it.
That.
Right?
I said the same thing. There is no get fit quick and no get rich quick.
There it is. Get rich quick. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah, and get fit quick. Right.
Yeah,
there's nothing.
none of that.
And it's like that for everything in your life. And it's crazy. Yeah, because. And so that's what I learned in the last 4 years. The first year was the hardest. Maybe the second year actually was the hardest, or the third. It was all years were hard. Yeah. You know, but it gets
for people listening. What is the hard for you? So what happened?
Yeah. So the hard for me. So first year, you know, because you got this pump. You're highly motivated. You're like, oh man. Yeah. And that's the biggest problem I think that I had, and what many people face is they have already the future in mind, and so they see that and they're like, oh man, when I get there, I'm gonna be so happy. But then when they soon realize, holy crap, I gotta work hard, you know, and then it crushes you. It's like, oh man, like I don't know if I want it that bad, you know.
Right.
So the hardest part for me was not looking for that immediate sense of gratification.
Immediate gratification.
Yeah.
I like that. Avoiding that.
Yeah, avoiding that, man, because it's kind of like, you know, a lot of people will think like, oh, because there's a lot of money and success to be made out there, right? Real estate being a really great tool,
right?
But you're not gonna. Most agents in a year, and this is like, I don't know what the exact statistics are right now.
Average statistics.
But 4 years ago when I got into it, it was about 86% of all new realtors in the first year will not survive, right? And by that, I mean like they're done, like, oh, it's not gonna happen.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, yeah, because it's not as easy as everybody thinks. Leads, it depends on who you work for or with, but they don't come to you, you know?
So why do you think that attrition is so high? Same with the fitness industry. 70-something% of trainers don't make 5 years.
Wow.
So what do you think that is? Like, is it cold calls, or is it knocking on doors, or leads, or like what do you feel like that is? The work, or
it's the work.
The work.
It's the work, man. So a big thing, and in no way this is against or to demean people who are working like 9 to 5s and, you know, in that corporate world.
For sure.
You know, because that's where we all come from.
Right,
you know what I mean? I worked for, I don't know if I can say this, the government for 7 years. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that was hard, man. Like 10-hour work days, but you get 4 days off, 3 days off, which was sweet.
Right.
You know, but that's what they sell to you. But being so comfortable with the schedule I was given, and I already had, you know, a boss who told me, I knew exactly what to do every single day. Right? I come into work, I know what I'm supposed to do, and I know what I got to get done before the day ends. When you become an entrepreneur, or realtor, right, business owner, you don't have that same guidance, right? Because now you're the boss. So you got to tell yourself, this is what you have to do. Yeah. And telling yourself you got to cold call people, you got to door knock on random strangers' doors to try and get business. Yeah. How many people can say that to themselves? Everybody can say that, but how many people are going to do it, right? It's so hard, and it's because that's where the self-discipline comes from, right? Because motivation is temporary. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know if we agree.
It's like a feeling, yeah.
It's that feeling,
it's like,
you know. It's like, yeah, awesome. Yeah. And then it's like a caffeine kick, right? Or
that's a good example.
And then it's gone. Yeah, it's like, oh, sweet. And then, oh, gosh, shucks. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, and then you have this sense like, I need more motivation. Where am I gonna find it? And then I think that's the biggest thing that people learn later on is that the motivation it's temporary. So you got to find a way to be self-disciplined, right? So how to get there? You know?
Dude, if I had like a gong or a bell, I would just ring that right there, man. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's
how did you develop this work ethic? Because you said like 4 years ago when you jumped in, that first, second year, or somewhere in that process, you were like, oh my gosh. It's a lot more work. So what did you do? So for people listening that want to get into it or just started, like, how do you develop that? Was it like you set certain things, times, wake ups or earlies or phone calls or what are some of that?
Yeah, you gotta. So like back to what we were just talking about is now that you're your own boss, as fun as it sounds to fire your previous boss to become your own boss, being your own boss is so much harder than what people think because you no longer have to listen to anybody, but now you got to listen to yourself, you know. So you got to hold yourself accountable, you know, for your own actions because no one else is coming to save you. You know, you don't have a boss who's going to fire you. And if you're an entrepreneur or business owner, the only person that's going to fire yourself is yourself, you know. So then you got to think like, oh man, so what am I going to do so that I don't have to fire myself, because that's the worst thing you can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then it's like, and that hurts a lot of people. And so for me, what helped me gain, I guess, this work ethic, I suppose, is the previous jobs that I worked. You know, a lot of the jobs that I did work, it required a certain level of me that I never had in me before. You know, like working for the government, for example, was like, oh man, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like doing it. You know, it's just
7 years.
I had to
7 years.
7 years, yeah. And I had to push myself to do it because I thought that's where I was going to be for the rest of my life, right?
Yeah.
So I told myself, this is where I'm going to be. I just got to keep pushing, you know? So I took that same mindset, right?
Yeah.
Instead of like, hey, but I wasn't happy, right? So that was the point of that. But now I found a career and a job where I am happy. And so how do I continue doing this so that I can continue to be happy, right? Or that sense of fulfillment. So pushing and working hard for it, I had no choice.
No choice.
Yeah, just no choice.
Just gotta do.
Yeah, you just gotta do it. And,
that's true.
Yeah, and I know as cliche as it sounds, man, it's that why. You know, like everybody's gotta find that why first.
Yeah. So what's your why? People are like, what is Genesis?
Oh, what's my why?
Yeah.
What's my why? Oh man, I keep that for myself. You know, like, no, my why. It's deep, and I could talk about
like
that.
Family stuff or
Family is a huge one.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But man, as the journey goes on, I have learned, like, as much as my family means to me, you gotta find a way to do it for yourself, man. You know, because at the end of the day, that's who it is.
Absolutely,
you know,
you're gonna be with you the rest of your life.
Rest of your life, you know, and you can, you know, a lot of people are motivated, inspired by and for their family, which is great. I completely understand. And for me, I'm not saying I don't, but there is a piece of me, a part of me, right? But not all of me.
Of course,
is only for my family.
Of course,
you know, because and what's hard about it too, and I'm gonna get super like just detailed because I am super like in my head, like I'll look at myself in the mirror, and my girlfriend hates this, and I learned this is not my original thinking either, right?
Right.
And I learned this actually from one of the guys I used to follow very heavily. I think we both did, Gary Vaynerchuk. So Gary V, right?
Gary V.
One of the things he said once to this fan was, Gary, in 3 or 4 words, give me some advice, you know, like. And he told her, "You're gonna die." Just straight up.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was 3 words. Yeah, you're gonna die. And she's like,
right.
"What?"
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, that's cruel. You know, I just asked for advice, and you told me I'm gonna die, and that was his advice.
Yeah.
That was what he was trying to get to her, was you told me in 3 words. So I took that, and the way he explained it too, it just made so much sense, man. It's too true. Life is way too short, you know, and it's inevitable, right?
Absolutely.
No matter, it's gonna happen.
Can't leave here.
So what are we gonna do be right now, and the day that we do pass or leave, right? Some people want to leave behind a legacy. Some people want to just make sure that they put as much energy into the world, the positive, you know, leave that behind. So for me, yeah, definitely family, and in a way, what I want to leave behind is so that they can see what I was trying to achieve. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to break this. I'm trying to create this new legacy in a way, you know, for my family. It's hard being one of the only entrepreneurs in the family.
Genesis, that's amazing, bro. Like I can just totally imagine. Like
crazy.
People are gonna look back. Like when you're 40, you might look back at this. Is this your how many podcasts? Is your first podcast?
This is my first podcast.
Bro, so you're gonna look back 10 years from now. Like people are gonna Google you, YouTube.
Talking to myself.
Yeah. YouTube your name. And it's going to be like, boom, 10 years ago. Wow, look at this. I was 30 years old. Now I'm 41.
Yeah.
And it's as crazy as it is. You're going to be like, dang, looking back. I like that.
And I like how you said that, because it goes back to what you already said, too. Like, in the 4 years that I've been in just real estate.
Dude, you said your whole mindset changed.
Everything changes. And every single year, too, it changes. It just, like, you know, in a good way.
Yeah, in a positive growth.
Yeah, especially when you're reflecting. It's like, man, if all that just happened in 4 years, what's going to happen in the next 5-10 years, you know? Like, there's so much that we can do to change in a better way to, you know, leave behind this positive, you know, legacy. But, so that's kind of crazy to think about, man.
That is.
4 years ago.
So 2017. So what was your self-talk to yourself like back then to like the self-talk you have now? I mean, like you're saying, everything is completely different. And then you kind of showed a glimpse of it, like, oh man, you know, I got to make this much phone calls, I got to do this. To now it's a complete different mindset. So like, what does your self-talk look like?
Man, so that's super deep. And we kind of did run through a little bit of that, but yeah, so that like, and that's like, I think that's one of the most important things too, is your self-talk, right?
Yeah.
Like how we just mentioned that at the end of the day, man, it always comes back down to you, what you believe in. Do you believe in yourself, more than what others believe and think of you, right? Because that was like my biggest problem before was, and I think that's one of the biggest problems with our generation in general, is we care so much about what other people think of us.
Oh man, it's poison.
Like, man, just a few months ago I had hair like up to here, right? Like long hair. And I had so many people giving me crap about it, right? And it's like, yeah, it's funny, right?
Really?
A lot of it was like, of course, close friends and family. And it's like, I put up a poll too at one point. You're like, oh yeah, hey, should I cut it or should I leave it? Leave it long. And it was like a 50-50, right? And that was just for fun. That was for fun. Because I didn't care what people thought. Right. And it was funny because my girlfriend loves the long hair. She prefers it over this, right? But for me personally, I like it shorter just because it's more professional looking, and especially in this industry that I'm in, I want to be seen as a professional, I can't just have my hair all up in my face, with no offense, people can rock it, it wasn't for me, man. But so that self-talk though, that self-talk is, what do I think about myself? How do I see myself, right?
How do you see yourself?
How do I see myself? Like that. And that's like, what is my self-talk is, and how I see myself is, I am, and I'm going to be and continue to be the successful young man, right? Who people can look up to. Because I look at myself a year ago now. If I were to go back 4 years ago now, I don't think Genesis 4 years ago, like, could actually see what I look like right now. Like, I know where I wanted to be. When they ask you, like, where are you going to be in 5 years? Like, I don't know, like.
Exactly, it's
crazy. Yeah, but it's like, I know where I want to be, but. But yeah, and so now I look back, and then I want to go back, and like, if I could go back like 4 years ago and tell myself like, hey man, like, this is where you're gonna be. Like, I seen it. I was there, man. I was like, so get off.
I remember you from actually even before that.
Yeah.
The dancing days and the gym days.
Yep.
And dang.
Yeah. So man, the self-talk. For me, I don't know if I just answered it, but that's kind of what it is. Is I tell myself when you're 75 years old, 41, or what, let's make it nice. 75 years from now, right? 75 years. When I'm 75 years old, not 75 years from now, right? Okay, I can dream. But when I'm 75 years old and I'm sitting there, hopefully at my dream home, with the family and everybody's, I got like 10 dogs,
10 dogs.
Or, whatever. It's a dream
that.
life, like
I
just
love
running crazy.
that. My goodness.
That's like my dream, dude. I want to, like my dog right now, every single day I leave the house because I don't have kids, but I have like my dogs.
Oh, okay.
And especially my pit bull, Kenai. I always tell her like, hey, I was like, one day I'm going to get you the biggest yard. It's just funny, but like saying it every single day, like it makes me like, man, like even though she might not really fully understand what I'm telling her, myself, I'm saying it out loud. So it's gonna happen. I'm gonna have to make it happen, because I'm telling her this every day, my dog, But how sweet would that be if 10 years from now I'd be like, man, Kenai, I remember 10 years ago when I told you I was gonna get you like 5 acres of land. I was like, here it is, run around, get crazy, So that's like my thing, man. Is I like to think about who or where I'm gonna be at when I'm 75 years old, right? And when I'm sitting down there on that porch doing my swings,
down the swing,
like,
you got it down.
Man. Or like that's me 75 years old, my dream house, like I see exactly what I wanted to create, and now it's here. I see my dogs running around. Awesome, I did it. I can tell myself then,
wow,
man, all that blood, sweat, and tears, all that hate you went through, all the people who wanted you to cut your hair, like, dude, you went through all of that. Hair. Yeah, you went through all of that. You stuck through, and you made it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, look at you, man. You made it. And then then I'm gonna have like my son next to me, like, Dad, who are you talking to? You're weird. That's how I imagine things. Like, oh, sorry, I'm talking to myself. This is my self-talk.
There you go.
Or I can be 75 years old, and in the same place. You know what I mean? I can still, or even worse. You know what I mean? And that's what I think about is what if when I'm 75 years old, I'm nowhere where I wanted to be. And that's sad. And the only reason that would happen is if I gave up, if I quit.
Exactly.
Right?
Because it's better to go all in and fail.
Yeah.
And then like, man, I should have tried.
Yeah. And it's such a famous quote, right? Like a famous phrase. It's like, you never know until you try, or and like it's better to regret, or it's better to what you just said. It's better to lose than regret not knowing what the outcome could have been.
If you could have done it.
If you just tried it. And that's like, we hear it so much that it just goes whoop, whoop. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's everything.
It's legit.
It's like legit.
Timeless wisdom.
Yeah.
From like Socrates, right?
Yeah.
And so this is crazy, Jen. So like, you're exuding all this energy, who you are, the positivity. I mean, what do you do on those days where like we're just not feeling it? Like, because I even get those days.
Yeah.
I even get those days where it's like, man, I'm up, or it's a late night, and I'm thinking, dang, like, am I even doing? Am I helping enough people? What am I? I have all these self doubts. What do you do on those days?
Yeah. Oh man, and those days they come more often than most people will think too. Yeah. And it's that's the fun part about like social media too, right? Is
social media.
People, like so many people can put out this front, like, oh man, this guy or this girl's life is so perfect all the time, this and that.
Right.
But it's like not true. You know what I mean? Like we all, like you just said, we all go through those days where it's like, oh, we're in a slump, like whether it's business, family, life in general, because we're all human at the end of the day, which is actually a quote that I try to like get away from, because I'm like, no, we're not just human, but we are. Right. And so to get out of that, sometimes I that's when I flip the script and then I think about the people who I do inspire, because and I'm sure it's the same exact thing for you, because you have a lot of people that look up to you. I'm one of them, right? And every once in a while, I'll get people who will message me, sometimes even calling me.
They call you.
And these are people sometimes who are even older than I am.
Right.
Not that means anything, but it means a lot to me.
Right.
To see that. And it's like, wow. And they'll call me and they'll text me, message me on Facebook, Instagram, and they'll say things like, hey, thanks for posting this video today. It actually made my day. I needed this reminder. Things like that. And so that's kind of how I get myself out of a slump, is I try to think about the people who need that motivation, right? Who need that inspiration. Because once you get to a point in your life, like yourself, where you are a role model to a lot of people, right? And even though we still might not see it for ourselves because we're still learning and growing, we are role models to a lot of people out there, right? And that's what I try to think about whenever I'm in a slump. And I was like, oh, what if the person that is looking up to me right now, my nephew, my niece, or this person trying to get into real estate,
that's right.
What if they see me start posting these negative things on Facebook or Instagram? It's like, oh, what happened to that guy? I looked up to him,
Oh, dang.
And it's crazy because some people will be like, oh, I don't care what they think, or whatever, like da-da-da, like I'm just expressing my feelings.
Right, and that's your self-discipline.
Yeah, and that's the self-discipline right there.
That comes from self-discipline.
Yeah.
It's from,
That's
goodness.
What it is, yeah. And it's like,
from you.
Yeah, man, that's so deep because
it's not like
we can all lash out.
Yeah, it's not like it's your own control.
Yeah,
I respect that.
Yeah, and it's it's kind of like flipping it. It's like learn when to not care about what people think about you, but then at the same time, know when it can be used to your advantage because it inspires people.
Yeah,
and you're inspiring people, so you can't let them see you sweat. And I think that's one thing that helps me break out of a slump, is because I got to remind myself, hey man, I was like, I'm doing something that's way bigger than myself, and this is more than just real estate talk here, from helping people buy their dream homes or this and that.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's but it comes down to what that outcome really is going to look like, because it's their dream, and I need to be on top of it, on top of my game in order to help them achieve it, right? It's the only way, and I can't do that with a negative mindset. Right. There's no and if you do it with a negative mindset, then you're kind of faking it and lying to yourself. Right. So then, it's kind of like, then why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Yeah. So it's like, so it's kind of crazy. Yeah. And
what is that feeling like when you close the house with your first time home buyer? Oh man. And they're just, you like that key moment, right? Like what is that? Walk us through you don't have to say anything named, but one experience that you can remember.
It never gets old.
Yeah,
I tell you that much right now.
So that's why you're in the right thing. You're doing the right thing, because your answer was great. It never gets old.
Yeah, it's and when handing, especially for a first time home buyer, right? Yeah. Whether or not they're like us, born and raised, or from Maui, right, Hawaii, right? Whether that's the case, or they're from the mainland who are like, they have dreams of coming here to Maui, right? My goal is to help them accomplish that dream, right? That goal. And so that's my mission for, is to help them. And handing the key to whoever that person is, oh my goodness. It's kind of like when they say close a deal, that's when I feel the deal is closed, because for real estate, we'll get the call from escrow and they'll be like, hey, Genesis, congratulations, we just closed on 123 Justin Street, Yanagida Fitness. Anyway, but, this and that. I was like, oh, congratulations. Okay, thank you so much. Awesome. But it's weird because before, that call used to be like, yes, like I would scream like, oh my gosh, we just closed.
Right.
But now when I get that call, it's kind of like, awesome, cool. I don't feel it yet until I actually hand the key over to the buyer now. So that's how you, like, it's kind of like you gotta go through it to really see what you're all about,
my God.
And for me, man, just that's the feeling of it's a familiar feeling when you first get your license, because you worked hard for it. You know what I mean? You had to study for it.
Yeah,
you had
study.
to, and then for people that buying homes, they got to save for it, and it's also a sense of self-discipline, because buying a house is, you gotta be disciplined to save money, man, and go through this contract and to be able to trust, professionals in that industry to help you get to where you want to be. It's a huge financial, man, you're trusting someone with the biggest investment you're about to make in your life. And so handing that key, it's like, oh my gosh, you trusted me with this, here's your key, and then, it's normally tears that come out, not from me, Mom, not anymore. Better at holding it in now, But it also depends on the situation too of that family. But most families will cry, that joyful cry. It's like, oh man, they did it. You did it. And it's also a great feeling because they put it on you. They're like, oh my God, you did this, Genesis. You did this for us. This is all because of you. It's like, no, it's because of you. And that's what most people realize after, is because they're the ones who had that mindset to go from here to here by doing this, by saving this, and just going through the process, because it's not easy, and so that feeling never gets old.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. I just imagine like a couple with a child for some reason, and then you just walk and they're just crying and tears of joy, and and that's the best part, Jen, is like,
so true.
Like what you just said. I'm so glad you said that, because I was told this by one of my mentors in the past about quit doing what you're doing, or quit your industry as soon as your peak moment no longer gets you excited, emotional, or you don't feel passion. And like for us, they said if you don't feel that excitement or joy or tears of joy when someone gets off a medication, they lost their 40th pound, they lost, whatever it is, then quit doing what you're doing. And I love that you just shared that, because that's exactly why you keep moving up, because people feel that. Like some people, I imagine, like what you're saying, like, I'm just doing it just to close, and they'll just kind of be like, oh yeah, you lost 10 pounds, cool. Like some people probably are like that, but like what you're saying, they probably won't go far. They won't make a decade. Because you can't fake a decade. You just can't.
And if you can, then you're good.
I mean, that's crazy.
How the heck?
But you won't feel happy inside.
Exactly.
Because it's like, oh my God.
Oh man, and that's so funny too, because that's when you just said that, like, I love that whole thing that you just said. I definitely want a copy of this, because I want to keep that
Dodie
in my head.
We got a copy. That's all we got.
I like that. And that's kind of a scary feeling. It's kind of a scary feeling, and that's why I left my previous jobs, actually. That's why I left all my other jobs, was because once that sense of like happiness or fulfillment like was gone, then it's like, oh man, what am I doing? Like I don't know if I can continue to keep doing this if I'm not, happy.
Oh my gosh.
And it's funny because a lot of people will say it's not always about happiness. This is what you got to do. This is life. It's like, but this is my life. You know what I mean?
This is your life.
This is my life. I'm going to choose what I want to do, because I want to continue being happy and finding things that, bring me fulfillment, which I actually think is more important. But and
I agree.
But
so like how do you, because even though all these years, everything is getting better, you're growing, you're getting more self-discipline, more, just doing more and helping more. every time I see you, every time we see you at the gym, you're still the same humble guy inside. Like, how do you stay grounded? Like, what is that?
Oh, I love that, man. Thank you. That's like a huge compliment because, and honestly, it's not that hard to stay grounded. You know, I never was this, like, you know, of course, occasionally I'll dress up, you know, nicely. Like, to me, this is awesome. Like, this is great for me already. This is perfect. You know, I don't really like to wear slacks when I don't need to. Yeah. So these are fitted black jeans. You know what I mean? Like, it's comfortable. I like to be comfortable.
Good-looking dude, man. Plus, you're a good-looking dude, so.
I suppose it helps. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
Oh, shout out to my dad, too. It's his birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Father.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so what helps me keep me grounded, though, honestly, is remembering, man. It all comes back down to the same thing, is remembering where you came from, because like, I was never handed things, you know. Right. I don't come from a rich family at all, and like I mentioned already, I am one of the first entrepreneurs in this family. You know, the Buduan bloodline. I mean, I do have, like, my uncle, which is funny because a lot of our family never understood them. You know, my dad's older brother, because they opened up their own, coming from the Philippines, right?
Philippines.
Yeah, moved here. And so, oh, sorry, I went full on local.
There you go, man.
Like,
just pass all the power.
So, like, oh, sorry, there's like a little
no,
but and they came here from the Philippines, and they opened up Sunrise Cafe, their own little it's a nice little breakfast brunch area in Lahaina, Front Street, right? Yeah. Which is not cheap, you know. So I mean, the rental, I mean, for having a place on Front Street, hot spot, you know. Wow. So for them to sustain a business there, even through COVID, they're reopened again, right? And so nobody in our family, though, like, understood, like, why they worked so much, you know. And it's because they actually have to work harder because they own their own business, right? And so, but seeing that, you know, helped me continue to where I'm at right now, because now I'm the only realtor in our family, right? Real estate agent. And so what helps keep me grounded is the fact that even though I didn't come from the Philippines, you know what I mean? I still started from the bottom, you know? And it's that whole, like, typical, you know, and of course, no judgments for anybody, and I can say this because I'm from Maui, you know what I mean? Like, we all start, one of the things that we're taught growing up, and not necessarily in schools, but just in our society in general. You know, at least for me growing up, you know, it's always believed that we have to work 2 jobs in order to survive, you know, on Maui alone. And it's, you know, and it's kind of sad because partly true, but at the same time, you know, we have the ability to gain more skills, right? And that comes down to the person, right? Because if you want to get paid more, you got to learn more skills, you know, better skills. And then you have to learn how to continue that.
Oh my gosh.
And so that's what it was. And that's what broke me out of that cycle. Was because, like, man, you know what? I'm pretty sure I have the potential to learn new things. You know, we all do. And that's the funny thing, is that we all do. And so what I did was I decided to go into real estate and use that as a tool, you know, another stepping stone to help me get to where I want to be, you know. And also I was done. I didn't like working 2 jobs. You know, I did that for a little while. I'm like, oh man, this sucks, you know, and you know, it kept me busy, but man, you learn real quick that there's a huge difference between busy and being productive, right? I can be busy, make all this money, but then where's the rest of my life going? You know, is it just to pay bills? Is it just to go home and sleep so I can work again? Yeah. You know, what is it? You know, and so, yeah, man, that's kind of what keeps me grounded, is remembering exactly where I came from. And so that's why.
Where you came from.
Yeah, remembering where you came from.
So is your dad from the Philippines?
Yeah, both my parents are actually from the Philippines.
See, and check this out, Dodi. Your family too. My family too. I mean, not from Philippines, but from another country.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful gift, because as kids, you know, we think it's like, oh my God, our parents can't speak English well. There's no connections. They don't know anybody, and I remember feeling like, man, I don't have any family here. You know, it's just me, mom, and dad.
Yep.
And there's probably a lot of stuff we could dive into, like childhood, growing up, all that. Like, man, I wish I could speak. Mom, I wish you could speak, and trying to help our parents speak English, and you know, all this stuff. And the really crazy thing is, there was a study that came out a while ago that, I don't want to put the exact number, I don't know the number, but it was something like 80% higher likelihood that kids of immigrants will typically be the first person to, like, break the cycle. Kids of immigrants.
Wow.
not the immigrants themselves,
Yeah.
but the study, I think it was Harvard or somewhere,
Yeah.
because they were doing a case study with Asian Americans
Mhm.
in the 70s or 80s
Okay.
about like why are these kids of immigrants just
Yeah.
becoming the bosses,
Yeah.
presidents, managers, executives, business owners, all that. And the combination was seeing the family's work ethic, like what you're saying. Just man, there's someone in the family just grinding, and just like my father, he was working 2 jobs a whole life.
Yeah.
And just recently he got 1 job and retired at 60. He's gonna be 66. Wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and then he would work his first job until 2:30 at the college, and then work from 3 to 9 at the hotel.
Sounds like my dad.
And I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I barely saw mine too.
I never saw mine
Yeah.
until I was like high school.
Yeah.
I was like, oh hey dad, just in passing. I'm like,
yeah.
wow, you're home. You're
Yeah.
like, I've never seen you. And that's just incredible.
Yeah, and that's awesome, man, because and that has a lot to do with like helping me keep grounded too. Because when I saw like my dad, as a kid, you don't even think too much. Like, oh, adults are working. My parents are working.
Right.
But at the time, like when we're kids, we don't really know what work is. So we don't know what they're actually doing. Man, they're out there hustling for us. And working 2 jobs to help us just to live in our house. And get us our favorite cereal, things like that. And that's an extra bonus. You know what I mean?
Dude, Frosted Flakes, bro. Captain Crunch.
Lucky
Charms for you. Oh man,
and
that was pretty good. I used to love Recess too.
Oh yeah, I
the
love Recess.
Bottom of the milk, bro.
Oh dude, I could eat that all day.
Oh my god. And speaking of this, I used to eat, my mom. We used to eat cereal with water sometimes because we just couldn't buy milk, or we would buy milk that was that section in stores where things are going to expire that day.
Oh, wow. Okay,
right.
yeah.
And there's a section that food expires that day. It's a little pantry.
Oh, wow.
And even the milks, they're like red carded.
Oh, yeah.
Expires today. And my mom was like, it's okay, we can freeze it. I'm like, you can't freeze milk and all this stuff. And so we would always have old milk, but we would make it into yogurt.
Nice.
I was like, Mom, that's pretty amazing. I don't know how you made this turn into yogurt. But it's pretty amazing.
Dude,
she's like,
that's awesome.
That's how you take something not good.
Yeah.
Don't throw it away. Be resourceful. Make it into yogurt. I was like, resourceful?
Man, that's awesome.
What do you mean resourceful? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
With no more resources, you gotta be resourceful.
Yep.
And
our parents were so much alike.
It's amazing, Genesis.
So
and I gotta imagine your parents were very hardworking, resourceful people too. And,
yeah, definitely.
And people are probably watching. They're like, dude, this guy's a fit-looking guy. Like, you did some handstand stuff. Like, what do you do like every day, like, or week to week? What do you normally like to do routine wise?
Oh man, thanks. Yeah, and it's funny you said that too because
you good shape.
Yeah,
your shoulders,
your
feet
thanks.
taper. I can tell that you do the pull-ups.
Nah, the secret is baby gap.
Baby gap.
Like wear extra small shirts.
Extra small shirt.
No. But yeah, so man, that's a compliment, man, from a fitness trainer, man. Thank you. Yeah,
you
but
see it.
No. It's one of the things that I like to go back to telling myself, man, I got no choice, Right. I've been in so many different like physical, how do you say it? I've been big, you know what I mean? Like for my height, I'm like what 5'6", 5'7" on a good day, depending on the shoes I'm wearing.
Okay, got it.
Depending on the shoes and the hairstyle that day. But yeah, so 5'6", and man, I got to a point where I was almost 200 pounds. So for my height, man, that's like whoa. Right. Like I would see friends who would see, like they would come and like, oh my God, Genesis, is that you? They're like, it was.
Dude, like, you made that big transformation.
Yeah, it's
so. People probably remember on Maui, if you're listening, the not Gold's Gym. What was it called back then? Before it shut the Fitness 808 or 101 or something like that.
The one that we went to?
We went to, yeah.
Fitness 808.
Fitness 808.
Yeah, or 808.
They changed the names a bunch of times, right?
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, I remember seeing you, and like what you're saying, I remember thinking, wow, you lost a bunch of weight, bro.
Yeah, so
and I remember you cranking out the weights over there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man, because I go through that, and that's like one of my biggest, like I'll admit, one of my biggest weaknesses is staying consistent with that, right? Because I strongly believe that you have to be consistent with all the aspects in your life, I
agree.
To get to, financial stability, to be able to do that, you got to be able to, you got to be healthy, right? That's the only way you can continue working 24/7 or whatever, or just working hard in general, physical, you know how it goes, spiritual, mental health, leads to, awesome financial stability. And so for the physical one, that's probably one of my biggest weak sides is because I don't like lifting weights.
Yeah.
But I'll do it because I know it helps me in everything else in my life. You know? Like I absolutely I'll just tell you right now, I just don't like lifting weights. And that's why I do more calisthenics type stuff. Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because calisthenics, like the stuff that you do especially is freaking awesome.
That's why I like your guys' gym. Is because you guys have a mix of both. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's why it's great, you know, and I can't even compare you guys with anybody else. But thank you. So that it helps to have a other half too who's constantly working out every day. We actually just started this thing. We're accountability partners, right? My girlfriend and I.
Yeah.
And so
shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Jenny. Jenny Johnston.
Yeah.
Check her out at Roja Mareva.
All right. Shout out.
She started her own clothing brand. But maybe we'll get her on here sometime.
Yeah, I gotta do
she's
it.
super shy, but you know, I gotta pick her out of that shell. But she's doing pretty well.
Good.
She's actually doing really well. But so it was actually, we came up with this idea, this plan, where how are we gonna hold each other accountable? You know, because like we need an incentive at the end of the week or whatever. So we did what works when we're kids is a sticker system. A sticker system, right? So we have a calendar at home. Yeah. And we have this plan for each of us, right? Because we do different workouts, but every once in a while we'll do a workout together. But like for me, I like to wake up and do my cardio, right? I have to.
So what do you do for cardio?
Oh man, as soon as I wake up, roll out of bed, 1,000 push-ups minimum.
I love that.
I'm looking at Vegeta over here. That's why. So I'm like, I see the Vegeta.
Shout out Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I see Vegeta. Yeah. I'm like, oh man, I'm over here talking about working out and Vegeta's right there.
Yeah, just all flexing. Vegeta flexing pose.
Yeah. Oh man, over 9,000.
9,000.
But no, I'll wake up and and it changes up. I'll hit the speed bag a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, get a little cardio in that.
Nice.
And I always dance, you know, like dancing to like, we call it top rocks and break dancing.
Okay, what is that? Up rocks,
It's like one of the basic moves of being a break dancer or a b-boy, right?
Right.
Is your foundation. It's the style, right? And so it's
dude, we gotta get some clips, dudes. We gotta get some clips of him, man, like on social.
I wore the wrong pants today.
So that's jeans, huh?
Yeah. This one's just for looks.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah, and so, that's kind of my cardio in the morning is a little basic, because I like to try and work out twice a day.
Twice a day.
Yeah, I try.
That's
like
awesome.
The morning will be just to get that sweat. You know, I have to break a sweat in the morning, before I get on my calls or meditation, all that stuff. I think it's important to have that.
Totally agree.
Yeah, and you helped me with that too. Right. In the very beginning is consistency in the morning is so important.
Absolutely.
You know, especially when you're a business owner and entrepreneur, because you have to have a system to follow. You know, otherwise it's way too easy to fall off track.
Oh, totally. I've fallen off and gotten on the easy, what they call the easy side of life. Just sleeping in and doing all this stuff and eating whatever I want and working out once a week. Yeah. You know, and even worse because I just felt like a hypocrite.
Yeah.
I was like, this was 5 years ago when I first opened a gym.
Oh man.
One day I'd wake up at 5. One day I'd wake up at 7:15. The other day I would wake up at 6:30. Then I'd just like, there was no, like what you're saying, no stability.
Yeah.
And somebody had told me that how we do one thing is how we do everything. Exactly what you said. That's why even though you don't like the fitness,
very true,
you still do your fitness.
That's exactly what
just
it
like
is,
you take care of your physical health, you probably take care of your dental health. You know, you don't skip a day of brushing teeth.
Yeah.
You know, skin health, hair health. You know,
try not to.
Yeah, all that good stuff. We're all human, right?
Yeah.
But it's just crazy. I love that.
Yeah.
Freaking Genesis.
Man, that's what's up, man. That's what it is, man. And I love that quote you just said. You know, the way you do one thing is the way you do all things, everything. And that's so true. And I believe that quote itself is how you can tell someone's going to be a leader in whatever they decide to do, right? Or accomplish their goals or be successful at whatever it is. Because, man, I can go and, like, that's what I tell people, too, is, like, friends that come to me, you know, like, hey, man, like, I want to find success or I want to be successful. I want this, I want that, but I don't want to get into real estate. What should I do? You know, it's like, okay, so what are you passionate for? What do you like to do? Right. And that's a hard question for people to answer, too.
Absolutely,
because a lot of people don't know what they like. But the only way to do it is to just go out there and do different things, you know, until you find like, oh, you know what? I think I like doing this, you know? Because for me, when I first got into real estate, I never liked it. I never loved it, you know? And I think I told you that before too, you know. So
right, this is 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago. Because
you were
the
like,
beginning.
That's right.
When I found out how hard it actually was, I was like, oh man, you know, this sucks. You know, like it's not what I thought it was gonna be, and so I had to get over that. But but later on, you know, it wasn't until the key hand, you know, handing the keys over, then you find that sense of like, this is what it's about, man. You know, it's, and so. But going back to that quote, man, like how you do things, you know. And so I told my friends, like, and you can see it in what they do, in anything they do, right?
Right.
Whether it's, and it can be as simple as, I like to use the concept too, because a lot of my friends are gamers. You know, and and nothing against
like
that.
they're professional gamers.
No,
or just recreational.
They wish.
Okay,
know,
just
you know, like,
okay, just.
But they
fun.
just like the game. So I like to say, man, if like, you know, because I posted this quote one time where it said like, oh, if you could put as much effort as you did into the video games into your business, imagine how successful you would be, right? And so
check this out. I don't want to cut you off, but this is great because the video game thing.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that when I was 19 years old. Something similar to what you said. But my memory that time is all distorted because of all my addiction and drug stuff.
Yeah.
But
good times.
It was just someone told me that. Justin, if you can spend your 7 to 12 hours a day you play video games, it was that bad.
Bruh.
And I would play from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m., sometimes all the way to midnight.
Game is life.
Gamer. And somebody was like, why do you keep leveling up your avatar character in the game? Why don't you level up yourself in real life?
Boom.
I was like, what?
Boom.
Level up myself in real life?
Dang. Yep.
You know, and they're like, bro, you know, you have a level 7 attribute in, you know, fishing. You have a level 9 over here. You have a level 10 in strength. You have a level 14. Why don't you do that in real life?
Yeah.
Start lifting weights again. Why don't you start doing this? Why don't you start reading books? Why don't you do? I'm like, and then at first I was offended. Right, of course.
Of course,
19, you know,
yeah.
Well, what do you mean? You know, it's not that simple. You know,
Yeah.
I was like 19. I think I'm smart. I still think I'm an idiot now.
Yep.
And it's just so crazy. I'm like, wow. But I don't remember who said that. But sometime in Oahu.
Yep.
And like what you said, it's consistent all around, bro.
Yep.
Because you said the self-discipline to do the workout is the self-discipline to be healthy.
Yeah.
If you want financial freedom, people are financially disciplined to not, you know, and then if they have freedom in their dental health, they're probably disciplined by brushing their teeth and flossing.
Yeah.
And then it's just that whole discipline to freedom balance.
It is, man.
My man,
It
that's
is.
Great.
Whatever effort you put in, man, is what you're gonna get out.
What you're gonna get out.
Yeah, and how much do you want? You know?
How much do you want?
That's insane.
I like that.
Yeah. And when I posted that on my story once, you know, of course I had a few people that were offended, you know, like, you know, like, I game a lot, you know. I was like, hey, no, it wasn't to offend people.
Yeah.
It was just to give you an idea, a concept of like, hey, the hours you put in here, you know, like that's cool. You're upping your avatar. Great.
Dude, I agree. People get offended for everything.
Yeah, they do. They do.
I posted a picture of like, what kind of coffee do you drink? People got offended. I don't drink coffee. I'm a tea guy. I'm a water. How dare you drink coffee? I'm like, oh.
Don't ever bring that up again.
Appreciate you.
Justin.
Have a wonderful day.
Yeah.
Just wish them well. You know, I love you, man.
Yeah, and it's so funny, man. Yeah, it's like.
How about coffee?
Because people want to argue.
Even
they want to
my
argue,
dog.
man. Yeah.
I'll post about my dog. I'm like, this cute little 12-year-old Shih Tzu.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you hate on a little cute little 10-pound dog?
Yep. You know, people will find things to argue about, man. It's because they wanna be better than you in something, you know. And sometimes a lot of it is they just want to be a better debater or arguer. You know, if that's even a word. Like, and that's not to dog on people, but it's just like that's one of the things that people need to realize about themselves. You know, it's like, hey man, I was like, I'm just trying to give you advice for something you asked about, you know, because I'm not gonna go out there and give you advice to something you don't want to hear. You know, you didn't ask me for advice, I'm not gonna give it to you. But if you're asking me for advice, I'm gonna give it to you straight.
Right.
And then if it's up to you to get offended or not. And if you do get offended, that's on you, man. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta find the way, like, to get over that. You know, and if you want something bad enough, then you'll find a way to make it happen. And if giving up video games, you know, minus it by 5 hours, you know, you can still play for 5 hours, and then you know, and it's, you know, it's the same concept. And it's funny how we're using gamers, but
because I remember giving it up.
Yeah, and same here. I used to play a lot of video games, and I had
hard.
to even at the time, like Netflix and Hulu, I had to delete all that. I literally took down my TV.
Yeah,
you know,
my phone looks like this.
Books.
It's just blank.
Blank. Oh wow. I was like, what am I looking for?
Blank and notifications clear.
Oh,
There's,
nice.
like nothing.
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't do it.
Man, it's funny. I don't want to show you mine because it's already like, this. I already got like 5 missed calls.
Oh my goodness.
Or no, like one missed call and a bunch of text messages from like clients like, hey, where are you?
Wow.
They're not really asking where I am, but but that's like the fun thing about real estate, right? Is, like we said earlier, always got to be on your toes and on it, and the skills have to continuously increase.
Yeah. So like one of the last questions I want to ask you, Genesis, is like, what do you do to continually increase your skills and improve your skills? What do you do to sharpen your blade per se?
Man.
What do you do?
Yes, that's a really great question, and that's something that has to
People
be done.
are curious. Yeah.
Yeah, every single day.
Yeah,
it has to be done.
So what do you do every day?
Yeah, so
like you work out for your physical improvement.
For sure.
And then what about
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Okay.
Audiobooks.
Yeah.
Not so much audiobooks recently.
Yeah.
But I do read books here and there.
Yeah.
I skim through. I try to get the most I can get out of it, and then move on.
What kind of people like? What kind of podcasts? What kind of audibles?
So I stick to the same. Like everything is almost the same for me.
So
I listen to a lot of the same things all the time too.
Got it.
And sometimes I'll play it out loud, and sometimes my girlfriend will be irritated.
Oh
God, we're listening to this again. I'm like, no, I need it. I need it to embed in my brain. You know, because when you hear things for so long, so many times, it's like a little kid. Because that's like one of the biggest things as adults is we have to retrain ourselves.
Absolutely.
So as a child, like for me as a kid, I was bullied, just like you too. I was bullied a lot, and it used to be mostly like about, for example, like my height. People used to tease me for having big eyes, you know what I mean? And now my eyes are like one of my benefits. No. I'm just kidding.
I like that.
No, but what I'm trying to say is, that's one of the things that helps me sharpen keep me sharp is it has to be consistent in what I'm listening to on a daily basis, right? I also have, I have a coach also that I pay.
Right.
We have a coaching call every 2 months, which is cool. He helps me. He's also an accountability partner. He teaches me things, to look within myself, because when you're in business or an entrepreneur or whatever it is you are doing to try and become successful at whatever it is you want to get, you have to have some kind of consistency with your skills, right? So for me, it's always as soon as I'm done with my morning routine, I jump onto what we call the MLS for realtors, right? And I look at what's going on in the market. I'll see what sold yesterday and today, what areas and how much they sold for, how long it took to sell those properties. I'll even take a look at who sold those properties, just amazing. So I can keep an eye out on
attention to detail,
everything. And so, and then what's new on the market, because as a realtor, one of the first things people always ask, how's the market, and that's one of the things I learned too is you have to consistently, I practice scripts and dialogues. Yeah. I talk to myself a lot. Right. In the refrigerator, I turned it into the refrigerator, in the I was gonna say freezing water. I shower in cold water too.
Dude,
right?
me too.
Yeah, I know, man. Yeah. So
goodness.
I call it the refrigerator, but
wakes you up.
Yep. And it's just those routines, man.
Absolutely.
And you have to continue doing that because, as you know, that's why I have a coach. Yeah. That's why you're a coach. That's why people hire coaches. Yeah. So that they can become the best version of themselves. Yes. So I like to study a lot of CEO interviews, right? Sports all-stars interviews. I don't watch sports at all, but I like to watch interviews of, the champions and, Kobe Bryant, I was gonna say Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson too,
Michael
Jackson, Michael Jordan, Conor McGregor. Right. Man, all these guys who are top dogs at what they do, all have a coach. Yeah. Right. Someone's there to train them. So why not me? I'm a professional. That's what makes you a different too. Right? From an amateur to a professional, is amateurs wing stuff. They wing it all the time. I'm gonna get in there and just get it done. Which is cool. It's a cool thought. But professionals go in there knowing exactly what they're gonna do. Exactly. They have a checklist. Okay, I'm gonna get this. Boom, close the deal, walk out. Whereas an amateur will be in that room just going all over the place. Oh shucks, okay. What am I here for again? And then they don't close. Yeah. And or they don't get what they want.
See, that's crazy.
Because they don't practice.
They don't practice.
Yeah, so the practice.
Like in everything, right?
Yeah, everything.
Practicing your conversation, practicing the basketball shot, practicing lifting weights, practicing sales.
Yeah.
Practicing everything.
Everything.
Oh my goodness. And like what you were just saying, I like what you said about all those people you just mentioned. Like all the people champions, sport champions, CEOs, all that stuff. Yeah, Michael Jackson, Jordan, Kobe, right? Or Conor McGregor, all these guys. And they all have so many things in common, right? They keep failing, and they keep practicing, and then they also visualize it a lot too.
Yep.
But they also work super hard. They're one of the hardest workers. They all wake up at crazy hours.
Yeah.
And they're one of the hardest working peoples, and they all kind of have that in common.
Yep.
And so I love that. Like you just said, you just kind of look at different parts and you'll see a lot of the same attributes.
Yeah.
But just kind of a different painting.
Yep.
They all have coaches, right? The best Olympic athletes, the highest level athletes on the planet all have coaches.
Yeah.
And some have multiple.
Mm-hmm.
And right, even artists have coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has a coach. And so because they're humble.
Yeah, because they understand
like,
that
that goes to the whole humble thing I was talking about.
Exactly,
you.
Man.
Because if you're not humble and you got a big ego, well, I know what I'm doing.
I can do it by myself.
I don't need help.
I don't need you.
I don't need help. Yeah, I don't need help.
Anybody.
I don't need anybody. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's that wrong,
egotistical
attitude that you said. Well, is the disease of attitude.
It is, man. It
is.
And that's like that's just like the humble pie that we just got to keep eating.
Humble pie.
And like, and it doesn't taste the best, but. Man, it's one of the ways that we're gonna like succeed, survive.
I like that.
And thrive, man.
That's amazing. That's the first time I heard someone say humble pie doesn't taste good. Made me think about like
that's the first time I ever said it out loud.
It made me think about when you said a humble pie doesn't taste good. It made me think about like a spinach pie. It probably won't taste that good, but it's probably really healthy for you.
I love spinach.
Right.
Might be good.
So, oh my God, Genesis, we could talk forever, bro.
I know.
And we got to get you on again then.
Cool,
we've never
man.
had a repeat guest. You might be the first.
Sweet.
Leave a comment below. Like, subscribe before we get into the last question. And where can we find you, Genesis, before we go into the last question? Where can we find this good-looking realtor?
So I'm on my they'll be on the streets, right? Hey, you're that good-looking realtor.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wait, not today. Hold on.
If you do that, he's gonna give you. He's gonna. You'll be in a treat.
Yeah, I'll negotiate for you.
Yay.
No, follow me at on Instagram is where I'm on the most actually. At Maui Real Estate Pro. Yeah, super simple. Maui.realestatepro.
Dang.
Yeah.
Perfect. There it is. And so, final question, Genesis. Like, you've been around for a long time. We've been friends for a long time. And when you heard the phrase fighting sickness at fitness, or when we came out with the book Fighting Sickness at Fitness, what came to mind? Like, what did you think?
Oh, man.
What was the thoughts?
There were so many things in just that alone. Fighting sickness with fitness. Because automatically I'm already thinking about, and it went automatically for me for friends and family, especially family, right? I don't know if it's just a Filipino thing or just it's just a typical we live in Hawaii thing. We just eat all this spam,
Oh,
But you know what? We actually have the highest life expectancy, 86%.
That's amazing.
Yeah, in the U.S. Yeah. But anyway, you can Google that. Yeah, along with my name. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, that's where you can also find me, Genesis Buduan. Yeah, at Coldwell Banker Allen Properties. But fighting sickness with fitness, man, super deep. And the first thing I thought about with that is most of the time, and whether or not people want to believe this, and I think it's a fact now, I'm pretty sure it's a fact, you can help back me up on that, is that a lot of sicknesses don't really come, and it may not come from, your bloodline, how do you,
heritage, DNA.
Your heritage. A lot of it comes from what you're doing as an individual, right? What you're eating, choices. Your lifestyle choices, what you're eating, what you're doing daily. Are you at least getting a walk in? A simple jog, things like that, right? Yeah. So when I read Fighting Sickness with Fitness, I actually read the book.
Nice.
But when I see the title, that's automatically what comes to my mind already. Is you're fighting for your future, basically.
I like that. Fighting for your future.
Yeah.
My God, Genesis. That's amazing. And like what you're saying, like with the CDC thing, it's so true because I wrote it in the book. Got it straight from CDC. I can't remember the exact number, 79 or 81,
That's where I got
but
it
it's
from.
about 80%, right?
Okay.
Like what you're saying, is lifestyle choices
Yep.
that could have prevented or prolonged their life under deathbed.
Bam.
That's crazy.
That's
why I wrote the book. CDC said 8 out of 10 hospital deathbeds could have been prolonged
Wow.
or like just at the minimum prolonged.
Yeah.
Live another 7 years, live another 11 years, 15 years, even 5 years, 2 more years. If you ate and made better decisions.
It's a lot of years too, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
More
a lot
years
of
with your
years.
family,
Yeah.
you know, your friends, your partner, all this stuff, the amount of people you can help in those years.
Yep.
So Genesis, my man, I could literally do a 2-hour podcast
I
with
know,
you,
yeah.
bro. And man,
Oh.
Genesis Buduan, good-looking realtor. Get at him. Get at him. Maui Real Estate Pro. And thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thank you. Thanks, Justin. Dodi, thank you. Thank
Dodi,
you guys for having me.
thank you.
Yeah, this was fun.
Like, comment, subscribe. Done.